Hello, hello. I have to grab my water because my tea is far too hot to drink. It's a freshly boiled cup. I have quite a few lemon seeds in the bottom of this. Oh well. Oh well. It's Thursday. Oh yes, I gotta share. Sharing is caring. Hello, Mary. I'm just doing the sharing. Hello, Tyler. Oops. There we go. Almost. Almost done. 360. 360. What's 360? Outfit check. I don't think that. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Amelia. So just waiting for some of the regulars to show up. Sorry, not familiar with that. And if it means like I'm supposed to stand up and turn around so that you can see my outfit in 360 degrees, I don't do that. You'll end up being really disappointed hanging out in my live if that's what you're looking for. I do teaching actually. What I help people with is their ascension pathway. I used to work in trauma and mental health and helping individuals with that and working through their trauma. But now I help with ascension. Yeah. So that's what I do. What do you do, Indy? I have beans and more. So yeah, every Tuesdays and Thursdays I do education. I teach you something about something, and then I give you some embodiment or some practical things to do. Hello. I'm going to talk a little bit about the full moon. I could say hi to Rachel. Hi, Rachel. Are you Rachel? Is that your name? Hi, Rachel. Look at another Rachel joined at the same time. How weird is that? You said to say hi, Rachel, and another Rachel came in. Hi, Valeria. How are you? Or is it Valeria? I'm going to talk about the full moon a little bit, and then I'm going to do some education and on something. I'll talk about what that's going to be in a minute. But Valeria, I like it. I like it. I'm good. I'm good. I'm really good. It's a beautiful day today. In part of my awakening, I've become different with food. And many people experience that where as they manage through their traumas and heal that aspect of them and begin the full awakening process, that they seem to become kind of sensitive, or their taste buds change, or the type of food that they really are attracted to changes. And for me, that definitely happened. So, but I've been enjoying what has transpired because of all of that, like making sourdough bread and making fermented vegetables, and so on and so forth. It's been it's been very tasty, very tasty journey. Eating more plant based, but yeah, it's been quite the journey to this point. So it's been a beautiful day, a good day for the garden, a good day for the garden. How was your day? I have a hot tea, so it can't be that bad. Hi, Dior Wolf. How are you, Rachel? I saw you come in. We were talking about how interesting it was that Rachel said, "Say hi, Rachel," and then I avoid fast food like the plague. I avoid pork like the plague. So I don't eat fast food, and I don't eat pork at all. I don't eat meat from the grocery store. I will get meat from if I don't have meat in my house. But if my son was to come out for dinner, my son would probably bring chicken breasts from a butcher, and I would be okay with that. I don't eat processed food. Like, I have in my cupboard, I have beans and lentils and peas and oats, and like I have all kinds of fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't have any meat in my house at all right now. But I'm not opposed to eating things like I still eat cheese. I still eat cheese. I still eat eggs occasionally, but even that has drastically decreased. Like, I seldom eat them, but I haven't sworn them off. Just like I haven't sworn off meat, I'm just very picky about where I eat my where I get my chicken or beef, or other meat from. Right, I want to make sure I'm getting it from a quality space. Um, but it doesn't bother me not to eat it at all. Like, it doesn't. I'm quite happy with the way that I eat here. And it's been a journey. It has absolutely been a journey. Like, my family, and specifically my brother, is absolutely carnivore. He thinks that like vegans are stupid, and I'm not vegan. I don't prescribe to any particular like moniker like that or diet or label like that. Right? I just choose to the way that I've said it for quite some time now is that I'm what would be considered to be low meat, right? I'm not a no meat person. I just don't eat it very often. Like, and if I don't eat it, I'm okay with not eating it. In the ascension, like as we become more and more light embodied, and we do the other practices that we can do, like breath work and toning and stuff like that. I have a tickle in my throat. And my tea is way too hot to drink, but it would be really good. Yeah. And exactly, it's much better. Yeah, I don't know about that. If you need somebody to govern over you, that's you, Tony. If you need someone to save you, or you need someone to, tell you whether or not you can put your pants on, or what you can do within your own country as a free and sovereign being. If you need that, then by all means enjoy that. I don't think we need kings at all. No, we don't. That's what you've been told, and you believe it, and so to you, that's what you need, what you think we all need, but we don't. All we need to do is remember who and what we are, and when you remember that, then yes, it does. Yes, it does. It's just what we've been sold. It's what we've been sold. And that's because there's a lot of people who in this world who are very much disconnected from their soul. If everybody was connected to their soul and remembered who and what they were, they wouldn't do the things that they do to people. They wouldn't do the things that they do to each other. They wouldn't at all. You'd never do that to somebody. But it's because they're disconnected from their soul and they don't remember, they don't feel God at all. And I don't mean God like the friggin' Bible, not like that, like the source of, the source of life, that energy. They can't feel that. And because they can't feel that, right? That's how you have evil. Evil's not the opposite of good. Evil is the absence of God, the absence of that connection. That's how we get evil. So when they spiral downward, right? Because that's the whole ascension thing is meant to be a spiral. Hi, stillness. Sure, if that's what you think. If that's what you think. But I think if you just look at the things that are going on around the world, you'll see that there's pretty much two opposing, maybe three opposing kind of timelines that they're driving for. Sure, if you think that. Canada's like the land Canada is not something you just take, right? Right, like you're still operating in a third dimensional capacity where you believe that you own the land in some way. Yeah, but that stuff's not even going to matter because there's a wave of people awakening, and more people are awakening. And as more awaken, more will continue to awaken. And then the truth will be revealed. And even you will realize what a sham it all is, what a scam it all is. You're not meant to pay for your existence. It's actually not. I don't do any I don't do any politics. I'm outside of that stuff. The truth shall set us free. That's actually what my other channel. I have a podcast called The Truth. The Truth will set us free, and that's the truth. And it's the channel is actually One Truth Sets You Free. So I do podcasts on there on talking about the truth. Hi, Salasia, how are you, love? I'm doing the 3:30 right now on Tuesdays and Thursdays, just trying that time out to see how it fits. I kind of like it so far. It's a little slow at the beginning, but once it gets going, it seems to be okay. Um, so on TikTok and on YouTube, it's under the channel One Truth Sets You Free. And so that is that handle. Can you type it in, Salasia or Carol, what the other channel's called? Yeah, but see, like, how do you find that that's a humanitarian way to be, right? Like, even if somebody like anyway, bye, enjoy, enjoy. Oh, that's okay. I can do it anyway. I just have to remember. Remember. That's all we all have to do is remember. Um, I'm gonna try it with the at symbol in front of it, and if it doesn't, then there. Yeah, I'm gonna set up a new home page because Carol's been letting me know that she finds that the web page is confusing, or it's got a lot on it, and it's true. There's a ton of stuff on there, and while it's valuable, or it's great stuff, it can be overwhelming to somebody, I suppose. So thinking about creating a more simplistic homepage that can kind of give a little bit more directions. Did you know that I have on my website, Miss M, I have soul letters that I do, where I channel your oversoul, and what messages are coming from, from your guides and stuff, and I present it to you in a letter so that you can keep it. But it's channeled. I'm just the conduit for that, and that is available on the website for sure. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the full moon before we do the actual topic that we're going to talk about. Uh, what are you struggling with? Like, what's going on? We'll see what comes down, but talk to me a little bit if you're okay with like giving me kind of a summary of. Hi, Nikki. Mazikeen. Mazikeen? I hope I said it right. I tried to. I tried to. Oh my goodness. The one episode that I was recording for the Hidden Earth, I was trying so hard, but there were a lot of different words that I was talking about, right? And I was just like, it was crazy. I was telling my friend I was recording this meditation because I decided I'm uploading it today, so it will be available at some point today. But I wrote books, a series of books for my nieces and my granddaughter, and it's the Unlikely Heroine Chronicles. And the first story was Tiana, the goblin slayer, sort of. No goblins were actually hurt in the making of the story. The second book was Parisa Befriends the Pixies. And then the third book that came out in the on summer solstice was Soraya Teaches a Wolf to Meditate. So I decided to offer as a gift for purchasing the book, whether you purchase it through Amazon or you purchase the ebook on my website, that on the full moon, which today is the full moon in Sagittarius, in true Sagittarius, tropical systems will say it's in Capricorn, but it's in true sidereal. When we look at the true alignment of the planets out there right now, the moon is in the sign of Sagittarius. So it's a true full moon in Sagittarius. So I'm releasing a meditation today as a part of that book. So when you purchase the book, you can get the meditation for free. And the meditation is just slightly over 10 minutes, like maybe 10 and a half minutes. So it's not terribly long. But it's cool because then you get the book for your child and you get the meditation for you. So anyway, I thought that was a pretty cool little thing to do. And yeah. So that's going to be available today. I just have to upload it to the web page. And then if anyone buys the book from Amazon, you just have to email me and send me proof that you purchased it, and I will return the meditation in an I will reply with the meditation link to download. Yes. I'm sure I'll figure out a way to put it on the site and automate it. This is my little tea guy. It should be the archer though. Like when I grabbed it, I'm like, it actually makes me think of the sign Cancer. We're not in the sign of Cancer right now, although in tropical astrology, we actually are. We're in the sign of Cancer with the moon in the full position being in its opposite sign, which would be Capricorn. And typically I would talk about how this is where you have that tug between, the home front and work, right? Capricorn being like the dad of the zodiac and Cancer being like the mom of the zodiac. However, I've since, transitioned through doing anything with tropical, and I now use true sidereal as my my go-to astrology format. I'd rather look and say the sun is in the sign of Gemini and the moon is in the sign of Sagittarius, so that is the position of the full moon, rather than go, well, it is July 10th, so that means that we're in Cancer season, so then it's in the full moon position, so it's obviously in Capricorn, because that's how tropical is, right? It's just every month, or like it just switches like that. But the planets don't, and the planets in the zodiac, like when you're looking at the planets in the alignment in the sky, certain signs occupy more space, so it takes longer for the moon and the sun to transition through that particular sign, which is why it's off against when you look at it versus tropical. So when you look at your own signs, when you're looking at true sidereal, you'll often find that your signs are about one back. So if you thought that you were like me, a Sagittarius sun, it moves back and I become Scorpio. I'm really on the cusp of, like, I'm on the day, the 7th is the 7th is the beginning of Ophiuchus, and I'm on the 6th. So they consider it to be, a Scorpio Ophiuchus cusp. But in tropical, I would have been in a Sagittarius. Anyway, we're going to talk about the full moon. That's today. That's enough of general overview on the systems and why I use the one that I use. But just to give you a little bit of background. So we're looking today at the full moon in true Sagittarius. Like I said, the sun is in Gemini. And this full moon is nestled in the beautiful sign of the Archer, which amplifies our quest for higher truth, spiritual clarity, and soul-guided direction. Sagittarius asks us to speak with wisdom, but only once we've been seen with honesty. So there's a lot of truth that comes up with Sagittarius. That's why today's episode is actually called The Bow of Truth, because I like naming things fun. Yeah. Aww. Well, that's something that I can help you with. All of those things, I do a lot of work in those areas. So this lunation is a mirror showing us where our aim has been true and where illusion still clouds our sight. So this is a time when we're going to see those things that we've been kind of lying to ourselves about. Those things are going to start to be really apparent to us. It's going to be more like, oh, yeah, I've been lying. Yep. Calling myself out. Okay. It's that kind of energy coming from the Archer and that bow of truth that they're aiming at us at this time. You're going to be like, oh my God, yes, I am the problem. It is me. It is me. I need to do these things. And I need to do these, right? So the current planetary alignments, Mercury is conjunct Sirius, which refines our ability to receive divine communication with crystalline clarity. So this is a great time for you to sit in silence, sit in stillness, to connect with your oversoul, to connect with God, like the true source of all creation, right? Connect to that energy. It's a great time for that because the communication pathways are open. Sagittarius and Gemini are both big with communication and teaching, and then Sagittarius with the spirituality. So Mars is trine in Chiron, which offers us an opportunity to reclaim the sacred fire of the voice. So we're going to want to be speaking our truth, and not as a reaction, but more as a revelation. We're just going to be speaking and standing on it. It's not going to be, I'm not going to fight with people. Like, I'm not going to get myself all, like, I'm not going to let this affect my energy, right? I am just going to speak my truth, and I'm going to stand on that truth. And that's it, right? And when you become embodied and you know your truth, and you become like a mountain, right? Then people know there's nothing that they can do, and so then they stop even trying. You are the rock of truth. You're that firm foundation, that unmovable force, right? So with Neptune still in retrograde in the sign of Aquarius, the veil is especially thin, requiring even deeper discernment between false prophecy and divine vision. Always try to connect either directly to your oversoul and to the source of all creation. Try to avoid using intermediaries, like going through a guide or going through somebody else that you come to, and they tell you, right? When we're looking at, well, we'll talk about that in the episode. Actually, we'll talk about that in the episode. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. So our theme for the Sagittarius full moon is voice as vision, sacred sight, divine prophecy, and oversoul perception. So pretty powerful full moon that we're dealing with. So today we're going to talk about the bow that bends and does not break. So the bow of truth. And this is when we're talking about the bow of truth, this is about reclaiming that divine prophecy and sight, right? So there's some stuff that we can do that can help us so that we're not being tampered with or misaligned or connecting to false lights and having ourselves looped into things that we don't want to be looped in, right? And so we need to make sure that we're doing it clear, like we're clear on it. Right? So let's begin. So truth is not just something that we speak, it is something that we see. The bow of truth is the energetic structure that anchors divine sight into form. It is the arc that connects the unseen to the seen, the silence to the sound, and the prophecy to its path. To speak prophetically, you must see cosmically. This is not prediction, this is presence or perception, right? It's a sight that pierces the veils, reveals timelines, and calls forth the encoded future from the oversoul field. We begin to summon and reclaim our ability to truly speak, to see truly, to speak clearly, and to walk prophetically, not as oracles to be worshipped, but as anchors of truth in a world that has forgotten how to see, right? And the prophetic part of it isn't about seeing into the future and going, like, yeah, I see you and so are together in a relationship. That's not the prophetic seeing that I'm talking about. I'm talking about seeing the future that we're building, seeing what you're doing in this moment and how that impact is going to ripple out into the field. Knowing that's seeing into remembering the truth of the truth in all situations, right? And so that's peeling back those layers, because it does take time to pull back the layers to see the truth of the truth, right? It's a lot. So we're going to go into the core teachings, and this is the technology of the prophetic sight. So the bow and the arrow. The voice is the arrow, but the bow is the clarity of sight and the integrity of heart. Without a true bow, words land off course. When our inner vision is aligned with our oversoul truth, our voice becomes a sacred weapon of clarity. The bow is our inner alignment, our ability to hold tension between seen and unseen with grace. A clear heart and focused allow words to land with precision and healing impact. Think about when you choose your words wisely, and words are frequency, there's vibration. And that's why if you want to heal yourself, if you speak the right words or tone the right tones or listen to the right frequencies, that's how you're going to heal yourself, right? You are energy, and we need to be looking at things like sound healing for sure. And the new world will. So in a world filled with, I gotta remember, I have notes. I have to make sure I'm covering everything. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Salasia. This is the difference between speaking. It's that just being the truth, right? Speaking. So this is the difference between speaking from opinion and speaking from divine awareness, right? When you know the truth of the truth and you speak from that space of divine, it's like ringing a bell that is so crystalline clear that it shatters through illusion. And that's what wakes people up around you, is you stand so firmly in the truth of the truth, right? And that's what they're afraid of. That's why there's the attempts at control, right? Is because that's why there's the veil. That's why there's the great forgetting. It isn't because we choose to forget so that we can learn, so that we can remember, and this is some sacred journey that we're on to do that. No, it's a tampering with the divine plan. We're not meant to forget. We're always meant to remember. We're meant to know, like, it wouldn't it be better if you knew exactly what you were down here to learn and to experience? Wouldn't that be helpful in your journey to know that this individual you are interacting with, so that you can work through this type of a dynamic? And once that's done, it's done, and you can move beyond that and move on. Wouldn't it be nice to know that, the lifetimes that you've shared with the people around you and the impact that they've had within your life in different lifetimes, and how those experiences have carried into this one? I'm doing fantastic, Lori. So that's the difference about knowing, right? It's so enlightening. It empowers you. It's like turning on an engine, and next thing you know, you're following the motor that's running within you in the direction of just your true alignment, right? So in a world filled with noise, learning to attune the bow is the sacred art of inner listening, right? It's discernment and it's unwavering spiritual alignment. So that's what we're trying to get to, is that part where we're listening, we're discerning for ourselves. Like, I said to my son one time, and I'm like, no matter what anyone says to you, if you take a moment with what someone says to you and you sit with it, it's going to have a frequency within your body, right? It's going to settle in there, either in a way that makes you feel no difference. Like if you're in a stable space, you're going to still stay in that stable space, feeling very grounded. It's not going to alter and make you feel, any elevation in your energy whatsoever. The problem is we are inundated with things that attack our energy from every aspect, from Wi-Fi, 5G, the microwaves, like everywhere we look, the stuff that's in the air we're breathing right now, the stuff that's in the water that's coming through the taps, all kinds of stuff is sent. And specifically, like processed foods, it's all meant to disrupt your natural frequency, Because when you are aligned and when you are not under all kinds of distortions, you're a very powerful, powerful thing. And that's scary for the things that are trying to control you. And it starts off subtly, right? For me, it started with the trauma. So then you heal the trauma and you move through the trauma, and you start to work on more and more of awakening and aligning with your truth. right? But it's that process of peeling back the layers. Who am I beyond those things? Who am I at my core? Who am I without all of these lies put on me? Who am I before all the distortions? Right? Because that's all you're trying to figure out is who is the true you. That's the ascension, is remembering who and what you are and then embodying that in form. Right? We came to bring heaven to earth by embodying who and what we are in form. That's the whole path. The whole path. Prophecy is perception, not prediction, right? And that's where a lot of people get trapped, right? Like I said, a lot of people want the prediction of, am I going to end up with so and so? I spoke to a girl about this the other day because she jumped in the chat, and I used to do cards, so I get it. And I used to do yes, no questions and all of that stuff. And I don't do that anymore. I might do cards at some point. I have created decks of cards that I have to have published at some point, but it takes money to publish a deck of cards. So, unless, even when you do it through Hay House, like you basically have to pay like $3,000 to take some course that they have so that you can be on their list of someone that they would publish. Like you basically pay so I know at some point I'll do it, but I just haven't right now. So I've strayed away from that. And when you're looking at something that's a prediction like that, like, are you going to be with so and so? You have to look at it. Well, it's two individuals with free will, and every moment, like there are. Am I? Stick with me. Stick with me. We can hope that that the YouTube is recording it without glitching. We can hope. If it becomes an issue, I'm going to have to just talk to my landlord about it and just be like, I need a bit better Wi-Fi, and see if he can phone and find out what's going on with it. Yeah, because it is showing there's a little bit low signal right now, but we're going to keep going. We're going to just channel some energy into the live. Let's see if this is not too hot to drink. Oh, this is so good. Okay, perfect. Okay, so when we're looking at a prediction, we're looking at a prediction of, am I going to end up with this particular person? You could go to one card person, and she's going to pull cards, and she's going to read it or interpret it in such a way that maybe she says, yes, you guys are going to end up together. And you can be like, yes, awesome, we're going to end up together, and then fixate on that person. You might go to another card reader, and she says, no, you're not going to be together. And you might go to somebody who's a medium, and she says, yes, you'll be together. And you could go to another medium, and she could say, no, you're not going to be together. And they're all right. And the reason why is because you're making this other person that has free will. One person is tapping into is, if this person makes this choice and this choice, then this choice. And if this person makes this choice and this choice and this choice, they will converge here into a relationship, right? And so if the other person's following another pathway that particular person or one or the other persons can meet, maybe the convergence doesn't happen because that person doesn't do what they need to do in order to be the person that's meant for you. They don't step up. They could be your person. They very well could be, but they just don't make it to the spot that they're meant to meet you at. So you go on and you're meeting somebody else who will meet you at the level that you're at. And that's the way that it works. Like, people think that they've only got one soulmate. No. You've set yourself on course to meet several, like to have an opportunity with different people for them to heal and you to heal where you could stay together. There's some that you set that were never going to work. That they were never meant to be long-term relationships. But there is that opportunity where you meet somebody and it's somebody that you have a divine connection with and could have another divine connection with in this world if they do the work and you do the work and you end up at that point. But if either one of you doesn't, or you don't do it at the same speed, he could pass you or you could pass him in your ascension. So that means that you will bypass that person and someone else that meets you, it meets you. It's the way that it works. So we don't want to be we're not looking at prediction. So true prophecy is not fortune telling. It is timeline discernment. It is reading the Oversoul architecture and feeling which threads are most alive. Okay. I don't know if that was my Maddie. I have a Maddie. Might have been. Bite and go. So feeling which one. So prophecy empowers free will. It does not override it. This sacred site is a living dialogue with source where we are shown possibilities and potentialities and asked to walk as anchors of the most life-giving path, right? So you can determine that this is the best path for that individual would be to, result in this particular life outcomes. And that doesn't mean that it would be to be in a relationship that is fulfilling, to be in a relationship where the person's truly seen, to be in a relationship where the person is on the same level as you and working at the same rate and the same speed at the same levels towards the goals of the future, right? Like it would meet all the terms and conditions of what would be the healthiest relationship for you. That's the pathway that you would want to be on. The individual that person that is on that pathway, you're going to be happy with. It's not going to matter. And I used to say this all the time. Like I could be sitting here going, "Oh my God, I'm manifesting. I'm manifesting Captain America. Oh my God, he's just the best. He's so cute. He's so awesome. I'm manifesting." Right. And meanwhile, God's like, would you just stop it? I'm trying to deliver Superman to you and you won't get out of your own way because you're fixated on the wrong thing. So you're taking yourself off your path of what's meant for you. We have missed you, Salasia. I know that, Carol's said her part, but I'm jumping in there too. Missed you. Missed you, sweetheart. So that's what the prophecy is. It's not about making predictions. So this sacred site is that living dialogue with source where we are shown those possibilities and potentialities, right? Prophetic site is a service, okay? It empowers rather than impresses. It reveals rather than convinces, and it always calls the listener back into their own inner knowing. So even if you were, say, to determine that person was saying, is this person and me going to be together? And you know that person is not an individual that's meant for their path. There's a difference of telling the person that or getting the person to understand that for themselves, right? Like that, there's a different approach to that, right? Well, you have a lovable family, so why wouldn't you love them? It's summertime. Enjoy the summertime with your kiddos. Enjoy outside. I spend half my time when I'm working looking outside thinking I want to be outside and trying to find a way when I can get out there. So I get it. So there's false light distortions of prophecy. Much of what is shared as prophetic today is filtered through distortion, whether it's fear, ego, or AI infiltration. Think about, when there's people that are talking about their prophecies and they're talking about the doom and gloom and, like the world is, like it's the sky is falling, right? Most of the prophecies that come out are about like, this great destruction or this mass chaos or this loss of lives or, this destruction of the earth, or they're always in that stream, or I shouldn't say always, that's too concrete. They are often in the stream of that doom and gloom space, right? And when it's in that space, then that is in and of itself tied to false light, right? It's tied to false light. Because it's meant to scare and to fear and to loop and to, distort. So, just checking in. Right? So, we reclaim prophecy by rooting our sight in love, in coherence and in the divine intelligence of the Christic Oversoul. So that's that connecting to your Oversoul, connecting to your soul, yourself, to the divine truth that allows you to determine with better discernment what is or isn't false light. And by standing in that sight, in that space, then you're anchoring and claiming that prophecy. True prophecy does not bypass, it awakens. We must purify the channel and discern the source and embody the vibration of truth before sharing sacred insight. So we need to sit with it and really understand what is coming up for us when we do get these insights into particular things, like why is it coming up for us and what are we meant to do with this. So this means doing the inner work, that shadow purification, the nervous system recalibration, and silencing the egoic projection so that only the oversoul's tone may speak, right? Because we want to be hearing from the oversoul. We don't want to be hearing from all these other things that are coming in. So you want to be making sure that that's the connection that you have before you're speaking, so that you know that you're channeling it from truth, right? And it's not meant to terrify. Nothing that comes through as prophecy is meant to terrify or scare or create chaos, right? It doesn't come through that way. So the return of sight through sound. Sound realigns spirit. Voice clears static from the field. As we speak the truth, we see more clearly, right? It's the more truth that gets seeded into the world, the more truth energy that gets put out there, the more truth energy gets returned to us, right? The bow of truth is strengthened every time we speak from divine alignment, because you're ringing a bell, a frequency so clear, so no one can mess with this. Like there's no distortion that can knock off the bell, that frequency, that tone that's ringing as pure as somebody that's in divine alignment, right? When the inner temple is harmonized through tone, the eye of the soul opens wider. And that's another layer that gets peeled back, right? And we continuously peel these layers back to reveal our truth in the essence, right? Hi, Lyman. So when the inner temple is harmonized through tone, the eye of the soul opens wider. Sorry, sound is not an accessory to prophecy. It is the actual key that unlocks clarity. So speak what aligns, and the veil will lift. Frequency entrains perception. As your voice attunes to source, your sight becomes crystalline, and the unseen becomes known. That's the closest I've been to a pool all year. I've been by a lot of ponds, but I'm not sure that I'd want to jump in one. Hello, Chickadee. Chickadee showed up just in time to do the embodiment practice, because that's what we're going to do next. So this is the anointing of the bow of truth. Anointing the bow of truth. Okay. All righty. You ready? Let's do some anointing. So we're going to place your dominant hand, and for me, that's my right hand. I'm probably switched around, but this is my right hand. So you're going to put your right hand over your forehead. You're going to breathe deeply. And then you're going to say, I remember divine sight. Now you're going to touch your crown, then your heart, then your throat. Okay. And you're going to say, let what I see, what I feel, and what I speak be one. So you're aligning yourself. Okay. Now I want you to just chant or hum a tone that arises naturally for you, right? So maybe you choose one of the vowels. Maybe you choose one that's aligned with a chakra. You choose, right? So breath in. Om. Now you're going to close your eyes and you're going to ask Oversoul or higher self, if that feels more comfortable to you, what truth longs to be voiced today? And what comes up, either speak it or write it without filtering. Okay, we're not judging anything that comes out. We're just allowing it to flow. Whatever truth needs to arise today, what you need to speak without filtering. And once you're done with whatever's come up for that, we'll continue. So now you're just going to seal the practice by visualizing a golden bow of light above your crown and feel it aligning you to the prophetic truth. Okay? So it's aligning you to prophetic truth. Oopsies, eh? All right, so we're going to talk about some of the questions and answers, like the couple of questions that I get asked and what the answers are to those questions. And if you have any questions other than that, then we can talk about it and see what comes up. Hey, chickadee. All right, so walking the path of the seer in a noisy world. What if I'm afraid to speak what I see? True sight can often challenge comfort, and it calls us into deeper courage. Start by speaking to yourself, right, in silence or in private, right? Whisper to yourself or pray the truth that you see, right? Or even just ask that you can, or like pray to see the truth. Let your voice build and strengthen through that presence. Build up to maybe sharing with one person. And then if you can share with one person, then try sharing with two people, right? Just build up in that way. So when fear arises, though, you just want to return to your breath and remember, you are not here to be accepted. You are here to be aligned. That's what you came here to do, to align yourself and to ascend. Your truth may feel disruptive to the world addicted to illusion, and that is holy. That's what you're meant to do. You're meant to disrupt people by being in your truth, not doing anything else. You're just out living your best life in your truth, and that's just going to ruffle the right feathers. And that's all you have to do. So how do I know my visions are not distorted? Right? Discernment is the seer's greatest ally. True sight arises with a signature of peace, clarity, and love. Distortion often carries anxiety or urgency, superiority, or some emotional charge to it. So ask yourself, does this empower or disempower? Does this feed fear or illuminate freedom? Drop into stillness, recalibrate your field, and then ask your oversoul to confirm the resonance. Truth aligns the whole body. It never fractures it. Yeah. So what if others reject what I share? Right? Prophetic sight is not for popularity. It's for purity. Rejection often reveals the very distortion your voice was meant to illuminate. Your task is to witness, not to convert. So see that people are seeing like they're still in the distortion, and that's okay. That's okay. They'll wake up when they're ready to wake up, and that's on them. That's not on you, right? It's not on you. Your task is just to witness. So speak as a lighthouse, not a loudspeaker, right? Think about the difference of that. The lighthouse is just being and just right. Whereas that loudspeaker being in someone's face, nobody's listening to that. Think about when somebody gets mad and starts yelling at you. You pretty much tune them out and you just see them as being, irrational at that point, right? You stop listening. But if somebody stays calm and stays, balanced and the same, you're going to trust them. You're going to listen to them. And this is the same type of energy that you're going to experience between the difference between a truth and a lie. So those meant to receive your vision will feel it in their bones. Keep your altar clear, keep your field coherent, and keep your heart soft. The echo of truth eventually reaches where it's meant to go and where it's needed. Can everyone be prophetic? Yes, yes. Every soul carries the seed of sacred vision, every single one of us. Prophecy is not a title, but a tuning, right? We're just tuning into the frequency, and we get to that frequency by shedding the layers that keep us trapped in illusion, that keep us detached and separate from our truth, from being in that alignment. The more that we shed those layers, the more aligned we become, and the more we become open to the abilities or the capabilities that we have as divine beings. So it's not a title, it's a tuning. As you restore coherence to your nervous system and anchor into your inner lens or into your crystal field, right? The sight sharpens. The quieter your mind, the quieter your inner lens. Right? When we have a lot of chatter and noise up here, that's why when you're inundated, when I was back very, very much in my running from trauma phase, where it was go, 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 do. It was either I was doing stuff or I was numbing out. Like there wasn't this middle ground. There wasn't a lot of most of my time was not spent being in presence, right? I was numbing out of things. Or like I said, I was just go and do, right? I didn't spend a lot of time like just sitting there. And then I did my healing journey. But that stillness, that quiet, that's how you start to hear yourself. If you're really, really inundated with noise in your mind, how are you going to be able to hear the truth through all of that chatter, right? It takes a bit. So that's why you need to be working on having moments of stillness and moment of silence, so that you can quiet the mind so your inner sight gets clearer. So listen deeply, listen reverently, and you will begin to see what was always speaking beneath the noise. To see clearly is to serve purely. To speak truly is to walk divinely. So we've got an invocation. It's a repeat after me. We do these on every single episode. And there's a companion journal, which I'll talk about after that, which is in the free group Temple of Light on my website, which is linked in my bio. So this is the Oversoul invocation is I stand in the sight of light. So, beloved Oversoul, unveil the eyes of my Oversoul. Let me see not through fear, but through light. Cleanse my inner lens of distortion, delusion, and doubt. Anchor my voice in the arc of truth. Let what I see be sacred. Let what I speak be sovereign. I do not predict, I perceive. I do not control, I co-create. I do not seek followers, I offer remembrance. I walk as a bow of truth. I bend to divine will, but I do not break. I hold the tension of the unseen until it becomes seen. And so I serve, and so it is. And that's that. So the companion journal gets that invocation in it, as well as there's a little mini opening invocation, which is today I choose to see what others refuse to look at. I anchor in divine perception. I speak only what serves the light. There are 5 journal prompts, which are, where have I feared my own vision? What distortions cloud my prophetic clarity? What is the Oversoul inviting me to see beyond appearances? How can I strengthen the bow of my truth? And what timeline do I now choose to anchor with my voice? The mantra is I am the bow of truth. I see with love. I speak with clarity. And the embodiment practice is to gaze into your own eyes in a mirror and say aloud, I trust what I see. Speak one truth you've been holding back, and then tone or chant until your inner field feels still and sharp. And then you have your seal of prophetic alignment. So you're going to draw a bow with an arrow in motion encircled by a radiant halo. Place it on your altar as a sacred symbol, a symbol of your commitment to divine sight and truth speaking. So there you go. That's what's in the journal, which is available, like I said, for free on my site, Anshara'El.com. So how did you enjoy that particular education session? How did you enjoy your invocation, or were there any questions that you had or stuff that you wanted to discuss? Yes, thank you, Carol. The halo thing. Oh, the draw a bow with an arrow in motion encircled by a radiant halo. Mhm. That's all. That's the image. But it is available in a nice little PDF on the website, totally free. One for every single live that I do, every single live. You can go and watch the replays of the lives on my YouTube channel and work through those particular guides that are there. Hi, Moriichi. Buenos dias. Pure Vida. Yes, definitely. Definitely. So, yeah, any questions? Any conversation starters? Any topics of discussion that we can have? We're going to talk about how I'm going to do a video on creating sourdough starter. So I'm going to create that. Uh, yeah. You can ask questions, but I always say I reserve the right to say, I reserve the right to answer them because people have asked me some really crazy things. So you can ask a question, but if it's something I wouldn't. How does one know when they are starting to send? It's just a cup of flour and then enough water to make it the consistency of thick pancake syrup. It has to be a bread that contains wheat. You see less and less. The easiest way to say that, because people will talk about all kinds of signs of ascension, right? But I don't speak necessarily in the signs like tingling here or whatever. When what I want to give you is a clearer side. So as you face your shadows and as you walk towards the truth, you are ascending. As you peel back those layers and you embody the truth of who you are, that's the pathway of ascension. It's as easy as that. So how do you know when you're ascending? How do you know? Because your life is changing, right? And that doesn't mean that your life is changing every day in some like dramatic way, but the way that you relate to the world starts to change. The way that you listen to people, right? Like I listen with detachment. That doesn't mean that there's no compassion. The compassion is there, but I don't need to create an energetic link. I don't. When somebody's dealing with something, I may say, that's I may give them words of comfort, but I'm also going to try to be nudging them towards the healing path, towards the ascension, towards the moving beyond that. I don't want to encourage people to wallow in a space energetically that is not a good space for them. The longer that you wallow or that you sit within spaces where it's fearful, where it's chaotic, where it is where there's a focus on lack, where all of those different types of things. Yes, I do. I do a lot of different things. Carol, thank you. That's a great question. I do teach this. Coming soon, I have Bridge to Light Phase 2 is in the works. The CARES is what my healing program is called, which just stands for Christic Elemental Harmonic Restoration System. So it's using the elementals and harmonics in order to restore an individual to their organic divine blueprint health-wise, right? So it's a healing program education that I'm putting together to teach. And early enrollment for that course begins July 15th. I'm just putting the finishing touches on getting that on the website. And then in August, I'm going to start the Bridge to Light Phase 2. So I'll talk more about that, but that is the Ascension pathway, but I'll talk more about what's included. Actually, wait, I might have one of the promos up for that. Let me see if I got something up on that right now. Let's see. Yes, Anshara'El.com. So I also do different healing things, like the Christic nervous system upgrade, the Christic reclamation pathway, the Christic soul alignment sessions, and things like that. So do check out the sessions. If you have any questions about anything on my website, the best thing to always do is go to the soul alignments tab and book a free clarity call with me off of that tab. And if you have any issues, like say finding that or something like that, then just send me an email, and it's in Anshara'El@gmail.com. So it's a really easy email, and it is linked on my website as well. And I think it might be in my bio. But yes, I do. I'm this month, I'm finally starting to no longer work exclusively like doing shadow work and stuff like that. I'd rather teach you how to collapse timelines and embody your divine highest timeline rather than be working in the areas of shadow work anymore. So that's been a change that I've been doing in the last little while. So the language and the stuff that I'm doing here, and I understand that I used to be entirely different, and people would come and hang out with me, and, I would dole out cards, and it would just be us, me handing out cards and, just my ramblings with the cards and stuff like that. And I understand I gave a lot of I'd give people 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. I'd give a ton of cards, and, and it was just, I was over giving. I was in the space of being very, very generous. I had to work through some past life, and some of those karmic ties and stuff. I had to work through that stuff, and thankfully I have. But I was giving away a lot for free, and in the end, I think the change has been challenging for people for sure, because it's not the same type of conversation when you come to this live, because I'm here to ascend. I'm doing it this time. I'm not coming back again. I'm not. So if you're serious about it, then hang out with me, because that's the only thing, I just let's do this, and do so and live holistically or as healthily as possible. Mm-hmm. Emmanuel. Mm-hmm. I'm not coming back. Mm-mm. 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 No, thank you. Let's do this. I'm out. Thank you. Bye. Nope. Nope. You don't need anybody to ascend. You just need yourself. Yeah. You just need yourself to ascend. You just have to remember and then embody that truth. It's as easy as that. It's as easy as that. Clear the things that, there's so many contracts and so many things, that agreements that we made under duress, or that we made under lies. It wasn't informed. It was deceptions, manipulations. It was all kinds of things. So those things, the agreements that we made, those contracts are null and void, right? You can declare any contract that you made in duress, any contract that you made through lies, any contracts that you made through manipulation, through deceit, through, false ascension loops, through, spaces where you did not receive informed consent, right? Any one of those things you can say, those are null and void. At this time, they are null and void. All those contracts made where I was not informed, where I was not giving, proper consent, they are null and void. Right? Say it any way that you want. Say it as many times as you want. You only need to really declare it once. But you can keep saying it, like thinking about layers and layers, kind of like a virus program. If I was to tell somebody to do a virus scan on their computer, I would tell them to scan it. And if they found viruses, do another scan. You want to scan it until you don't find any viruses, right? Because some viruses piggyback on others. So think about it the same way as that. When you're repeating yourself, is you're just removing layers, right? It's all about layers. And as you're saying it, you're going to reveal a new layer, and that new layer is going to give you guidance into what you need to peel back, what you need to make sense of, or a contract that needs to be cleared or closed, right? Or some looping pattern that you have, some false light attachment that you created somewhere, so that you can get rid of that. Yeah, but I don't really focus on that stuff, right? We need to be beyond that. Give me 1 second. I have to go open my front curtain, because it's getting warm in here. So I need to go and open up my front curtain, so that the air can come back in through that door. I'm going to go see if I can anyway. And if not, I'm going to grab my fan. Hi, buddy. It feels very warm in here. Let's open this door. And since it's shady on the front porch, how would we do that? Huh? Huh, buddy? Whew. Wow. I always get warm in here. Oh, there's so much distortion. There's so much distortion, right? And yeah, some of the conversations I have in some of the, like in the Christic Mastery Circle, we talk about some really deep things, because it's expected that when you're at that level, you're prepared to hear those types of things. But yeah. Whew. It needs to cool down just a little bit. The opening the door helped immediately, but you just got to get the air flowing again. I can't open the window behind me while I'm on a live because the traffic from the road is just too loud. So yeah. Yeah, and I mean, those are the distortions, right? We know that the world is filled with, like, the world's inverted, right? The world is not what we think it is. And, we're just meant to stand in our truth, stand in the truth of knowing, right? Of knowing who and what you are, stand in the truth of knowing how we're meant to live, right? And embody that, live like that, do in, and it's all about steps in that direction, right? I've been making steps in that direction for quite some time now. So every layer, it's just layers, right? The first layer, I actually jumped off the edge and I started my company and left my nursing career. So I jumped off the edge, and then, like, I've been doing my company for 4 years now. 4 years. She's a little toddler now. Oh, the changes that have been seen at the company. The company that started as Mind, Body, Spirit, Healthy Self. I remember the moment I had the channel come in, and I was just like, oh my God, I know what I'm going to do. And da 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 da. And I wrote it all out, this big plan of mind, body, spirit, healthy self, because I knew what we needed to do in order to heal from our traumas and to get back into alignment. And many of us, we mix the spiritual component, or, we missed one aspect of it, or we were just stuck in traditional medicine, which I got to experience that. So I got to come from that aspect, from the nursing into trauma and holistic health, and then right into where I am now, which is, like I said, all about in the ascension space. So yeah, your body starts to tell you what it likes and what it doesn't like, and it gets more and more clear. And as we ascend, like, that's why there's people that are breatharians. The reason why breatharians can exist purely on breath is because their frequency is so high and their belief system is aligned with the knowing that they are energetic beings. So they can get the energy requirements that they need for their body. They can get it through breath work, right? And you are getting hydrated when you think about, there's moisture created through breathing, right? And your skin is the largest organ that you have, and it is absorbing things from the environment around you as well. But breatharians, that's why they exist, right? Yeah, they worked towards it. It wasn't one day they just said, I'm going to be a breatharian, right? That's why if somebody's looking at becoming vegan, right, like the things, the steps that you make within your diet is you're going to start with eliminating processed foods and seed oils and, those certain things, right? Like you're going to get rid of the vegetable oil and the canola oil and, those types of things. You're going to get rid of the red dyes and, and stop eating fast food. And, as you keep progressing, you start to make more and more changes. If you're going to be eating meat, you're eating meat from a butcher. Maybe then you go to a spot where you're eating meat a couple times a week as opposed to every day. And then you move to a spot where you're a vegetarian. You're still eating meat byproducts. You're eating your cheese and you're drinking milk and you're still, using butter and stuff like that. And then you navigate to the point where you start eliminating those things out of your diet because you know you don't need them. Then you move from that to fruitarian, from fruitarian to breatharian. Right. And then there you go, layers, right? All those layers. And that's how everything is. It's just those layers. So how do you know you're ascending? Is because you're seeing yourself pulling back those layers. You're removing the layers, and you're seeing yourself shift in the way that you're embodying your truth, right? And the truth becomes more and more apparent, more and more higher level kind of topics that you start to be aware of, right? And so that's the ascension pathway. Yeah. Yeah. And it becomes fun. Like now I'm making all kinds of pickled things or I make fermented things. I've like fermented pickles and fermented beets and fermented radishes and carrots. I've made, which I have to check today. I fermented limes and lemons and oranges. So I can add them and have like a kind of like a little bubbly drink. So those are ready to go now. I'm going to try the lime one today because I've been just so excited to try it. It smells delicious, and the one day that I tasted it, it was good. Yeah. Once you start doing it, then it actually, in a lot of ways, it becomes fun because you start to think of it more in the sense of it's a sacred act, like what you're feeding yourself. If you think of yourself as a temple and you're going to treat yourself with sacredness, then you're going to look at the things that you're feeding your body in a much different way, right? And so that's a powerful thing. It's a powerful thing. Any other questions? Hi, Bobby Sue and Catherine. Yeah, I mean, depending, right? If you're really hot, you're probably going to eat less. Yeah, it has been warm in Ontario this June and now July. It was definitely a warm month. I don't have air conditioning here, so I have to be very careful with what I'm doing. It's interesting when you eat more holistically, right? When you start to eat more holistically, it's interesting how you realize it interferes with you. It's the same thing with eliminating like toxins, like the clothes that you wear should be in natural fibers because they're disrupting your energy. When you are looking at like creams and lotions, like those things, like your skin's the largest organ in your body, and yet we slather stuff on it all the time, and it just absorbs it right into ourselves, right? And so we have to be really cautious and like thinking about like what am I putting in and on my body? What am I listening to? What am I allowing myself to listen to? Like, am I listening to, somebody beating the crap out of somebody? Am I listening to something that I know is encoded with, many of us know that, like mainstream music is not in the frequency that's good for us. Many of us know that a lot of the recordings have under tracks that are written that have negative things within them, when you're singing the repeating chorus, that you're really spelling upon yourself as you're singing, but the chorus is even more pronounced because you're repeating it, right? So if you're not sitting there thinking like, what am I listening to, right? If you know that, but you're not changing what you're listening to, then you're agreeing. That's where you become consensual, right? That's when you're saying, I know the truth. I know that they are programming me with this information, and I'm choosing to just continue along with that anyway, right? And that's when you tie yourself in those little things, right? So it's just starting with those things, right? Just start small and keep going and keep working on it. Yep. Yeah, I stopped wearing makeup. I'm waiting until I find like a really, if I ever do, it'll be from a company that, that is ethical, right? Because it's not just about the product being healthy for me. It's did they have to do testing? Like, how did they derive that it was safe for me, right? What got harmed along the way? And I understand, right? I understand that there's a lot of, well, we had to test on animals to make sure that it was safe, because if it wasn't safe, we could kill a person, right? We can talk that all day long. But the facts remain, if we weren't being poisoned, if we weren't being subjected to constant frequencies that are sent to disrupt us, if we weren't eating things that are terrible for us, drinking things that are terrible for us, having the air being terrible for us, having all the lies that we're living in, all the ways that society is disrupted and lied and manipulated and distorted and inverted and all of that. If we weren't doing all of those things, we wouldn't need any of that stuff. We would just live with what is around us naturally, right? And we wouldn't be sick. The only reason they need to test those things on animals is because they made us think that we need them, and then they do things that make us sick so that we think we need a pill so that we can feel better. Meanwhile, if we just stopped with the toxins we're eating or wearing or in other ways, if we stopped with those, we'd be healthier right away. And many times they'll tell you, here, like with warfarin, they'll prescribe you warfarin, and then they'll tell you not to eat kale because kale will further thin your blood. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, it's possible to experience astral projection. Make sure that you're protecting yourself if you're going to, and if you're going to do astral projection, right? Call on your oversoul for the projection and like do your own protection. Right. And it's not about going and meeting somebody and having somebody take you, and do something for you, right? Yeah. Yeah, they do. They switch things around all the time because they want, they drive markets and stuff. Yeah, maybe I'll do something on that. Let me see if I've got something that I can pull up on um, decree for to protect decree to protect projection. Yeah, that's what it would be. Oh yeah, they're starting to definitely create more and more. Um, because your energy, chickadee, right? So your consciousness isn't confined to your body. They're falling around or shopping. Yeah, I'm gonna do the video. Like I said, I'm gonna do the video on the sourdough starter. Itchy, itchy. Oh, just entertaining. Is that what you meant? What is it though? What is astral projection? That's what you were asking about. It's so fun when you meet people that have also witnessed some bizarre things, and you can get into that conversation. And half the time, they're two neurospicy people. So it's like, and all right, I got it. So the astral projection protection decree was close. I was close to what I asked, what I called it. The cloak of sovereign light. So before you go to bed, before you go to astral project, right? I now prepare to journey beyond the veil. Yes. Nice. Nice. Okay. I now prepare to journey beyond the veil, anchored in my eternal sovereignty. Okay. I call forth the guardian shields of my oversoul. I activate the cloak of Christic light around all layers of my being. No force, no frequency, entity, or construct may enter my field without divine permission. Only truth may meet me. Only love may approach me. Only source aligned consciousness may walk beside me. I collapse all false timelines, parasitic anchors, and implants now. I revoke consent to any distortion, siphoning, or surveillance. My astral temple is sealed in golden flame. My Merkaba spins in harmonic balance. I journey in the name of truth, not curiosity. I travel with purpose, not projection. I return with clarity, not confusion. I am the living light. I am the crystal flame. I am the breath of the infinite. I am sovereign in all realms. So it is, so I am. I tapped on the screen like really fast. So I tried to anyway while I was talking, because I'm hoping that it'll highlight that so then I can just share that part of it. But if not, it'll be on the YouTube channel that you can watch it. So saying something like that, right? So yeah. Hi, Snea. The first sentence of it was that I now prepare to journey beyond the veil, anchored in my eternal sovereignty. Hi, Snea. Yeah. How are you doing, Snea? You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, you can catch the like all the replays are on the YouTube channel under the live tab for the YouTube channel, and it's the same name as my channel here. I've tried to change the channels all across the board so that they're all the same. So yeah, good, good. I'm glad you're well. I'm glad you're well. Any other questions, loves? Because if not, I'm going to jump out of here and I'm going to, I think, go and record my story or my episode. Yeah, it'd be easier. I know I was like, this is a long one. This is a long one. um, yeah, and maybe I'll just read it again as well. If it doesn't, like I can always do a short one of that as well. And maybe that's what I'll do is I'll do a little short, or I'll do a little video on astral projection and then have that decree as a part of it. Yeah, I can look at doing that. But yeah, I'm gonna go make a sourdough starter under this beautiful moon and show how to do that. It is a process though, because you might start off, but you have to do it every day. You take out half the batter and you replace it with ingredients as well. So that's, yes, it's beautifully sunny in here. Do go and check out the channel. Do go check out the website. I mean, there's a walk with me tab that has some stuff written on there. Yeah, I made the first one using an unbleached organic white flour, and I when it's a white flour, like the processing, it's not as good as using a whole wheat. So today I'm doing one that's in a whole wheat. So I'm starting with that. Oh, nice, nice. I make all kinds of things. I made tortillas earlier this week, which was really nice. Just made with like 5 ingredients. It was quite nice. Um, I want to make. I'm going to make this weekend. I'm going to make this red onion. These pickled red onions is basically what they are, but I'm going to make those because my mom's coming over on Friday, and I know how much she likes onions. So I'm going to do the pickled red onions for her because they set fairly quickly. So if I do it early in the day, then we'll have them by lunch or supper time to incorporate. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know when I moved here, that's just what happened. I make these beautiful power bowls with quinoa and chickpeas and a bunch of different things in it, roasted root vegetables and stuff like that. Yes, yes, I have garlic scapes too. I'll have to do a video on what to do with them because I'll have to figure it out myself, what we have to do with it. Yes, yes. So like I predominantly am plant-based here. Like I said, I don't like if I use milk in my tea or if I was to use I don't really I'm weaning those things out. They're just not there yet. Probably August I'll stop with those types of things as well. But yeah. Mhm. Well, definitely check out the things at Anshara'El and come and meet me back here next Tuesday, 3:30 in the afternoon. If I am on before then, it'll be a surprise to all of us because I don't have anything planned, but you never know. I could decide to do a surprise live because something strikes my fancy. But anyway, I love you guys. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy and just enjoy the full moon. Enjoy the full moon. Bye, guys.